What's up, everyone? It's the Dana Cortez Show here with Uchis, and I'm super excited. I know you don't remember this because you talked to a million people, but we had a conversation via Zoom during the whole pandemic, and there was just a lag, and the Wi-Fi was terrible, and I saved a question that I wanted to ask you then, so I'm going to ask you now. Now, I know, of course, we're here to talk about Red Moon and Venus, but I have to ask this question. Sin miedo del amor y otros demonios, how do you compare love and demons? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a long-standing comparison. It's like love can also bring out the worst in us. It can make us blind, and
True
so I
story.
think that's kind of where.
And you wanted to express that you've been writing your whole life pretty much. How
Yeah.
old were you when you started writing?
Pretty much as soon as I could write, I was writing poems and songs. Yeah.
And where do you think you gained your inspiration from? Like, as a little girl, who was Caliucci's listening to?
I always loved all types of different music. I think I gained inspiration from just poetry more than anything. Like I was always like an avid reader. I loved reading books.
That's funny. Everybody who writes music tells me that they're big into reading, that that's something that they always gravitated toward. Obviously, that's how you found your words. Now, Red Moon and Venus, Moonlight, is all over the radio. We're playing it. My personal favorite, Como Te Quiero. I love that one. And then
Oh,
I
thank
like
you.
Hasta Cuando. For as far back as I can see, and since I started following your music way before really Instagram or any of that,
Yeah.
I noticed you always embraced your Latino roots.
Yeah.
As a Mexican American, sometimes I didn't always feel proud about my heritage because I was told that we weren't good enough or, whatever the case is. How did you find strength in that? And was there ever a moment that you didn't feel proud of your roots or that you were conflicted being Latina?
You know what? I've always been super proud. I went to school in Colombia, and that was like a huge part of my upbringing as well. So when I came back to the United States, um, I very much was always like wearing Colombian flag shirts
Uh-huh.
and like all my stuff that had Colombian flag on it, and I was just always super proud to represent Colombia basically my whole life. So, and I remember like being super young and thinking like I feel so blessed that I'm Colombian, and I always just felt really
Wow.
like grateful because I always had so much love for you know everything that had to do with my country. I always felt so like connected, spiritually connected um to Colombia. So yeah, I never felt conflicted about it, but I do understand that there are a lot of people. There was like a definitely like a time in the United
Oh,
States where it was like not cool to be Latino,
yes.
and so I understand that that was like an issue for a lot of people. My school was mostly like the in my neighborhood. It was like mostly like Salvadorians,
Hmm.
and majority black people, and then like the Latino community was like from El Salvador, Ecuador. There wasn't that many Colombians, um, but
I just asked because you grew up in Virginia, correct?
yeah,
Are there a lot of Latinos in Virginia? Because I don't
yeah. We used to
really.
live in a neighborhood called Chirilagua. It's
Oh,
like
wow.
mainly Latino, yeah, and then like it's a lot of DC, Maryland, Virginia
Hmm.
area is the area that I'm from. It's like northern VA. So it's a lot of immigrants in general. There's also a lot of like Ethiopians, Eritreans, um, but yeah, not that much Colombians, not that much Mexicans. Mostly El Salvador,
Right,
Ecuador,
Ecuador, from that part of the.
Honduras,
Okay.
like mostly that type.
So going back and forth, I know being in Virginia, which has like a humongous impact on hip hop with Timberland, Pharrell, Chris Brown, the Clips. What kind of impact did that have on you too?
Yeah,
Or
I was
Missy Elliott?
always,
I forgot Missy.
yeah, I always loved
Don't
Missy
forget Missy.
Elliott. Yeah, I always loved Missy Elliott. I always loved NERD. I was like a huge NERD fan. Um, I think just being like an avid music lover, I always love to just find obscure bands and singers and groups and from all over the world, and I never tried to really let like any one place. Because given that I was always had that like multi dimension to my heritage, and I've always been I'm a dual citizen, so
Right.
having that like I always kept a very open mind to like there's a much bigger world outside of just this neighborhood, and
You're so lucky to have known that, though, because some people never leave
yeah,
their little neighborhood or their block. So you took inspiration from Colombia, but also from Virginia, from where you grew up, because of the
absolutely,
musical influence.
yeah.
Have you noticed a growth within your Mexican audience specifically? I know you mentioned like the other types of Latinos too, but
Oh yeah,
Mexican
absolutely.
specifically?
Yeah, I mean, really started my career when I came. Like I started when I was in Virginia, but I pretty quickly moved to Los Angeles. Like after I graduated high school, and California. Like mainly, the
There's a
main
lot of us in
Latino
LA.
community is Mexican, so
There's a lot.
it's a big Mexican community.
Yeah.
I've always felt very close to the Mexican community as well. My uncle, who kind of like raised me as a dad, is Mexican, and so
Oh, wow.
I always felt that our cultures are very similar in a sense, and so yeah, I've always gotten really along with Mexican people really well.
You know, it's funny because people always say that about Latinos. We are very different, but at the same time, we have family,
We have a lot of
faith.
similar threads,
We do. You
yeah.
know, those kind of things I think bring us together. There's a lot of innuendos of Catholicism. I see a lot of crosses and pieces like that. Would you consider yourself more faithful or more religious, more spiritual? Or how would you describe yourself in that aspect?
Yeah, I consider myself more spiritual. I grew up in a household when it came to religion where we were very like open to our religion. Like I have family members that are Hindu, family members that are Muslim, family members that are Catholic. We had the Quran, we had the Bible, we had pretty much everything in my house. So I never had to like stick to like one type of teaching. I learned
That's
about like
such a
Buddhism
blessing.
really young. Yeah, so I kind of just learned about how all the religions, the similar things that they have in common, and
Instead of the differences.
yeah.
That's so smart. My grandmother had a sign on her door that said if you weren't Catholic, you couldn't come in.
Oh.
So I'm very-
I think that's horrible.
It's horrible.
I think religion can be really beautiful in the terms that it can give people a sense of community and a sense of faith and uplift them out of dark times. But I think the negative part can be like the criticisms or like I don't think that
Judgments.
yeah I don't think
Cause
that
the world's wars.
yeah causing wars and all of that. I don't think that God would want anyone to be. I don't think God judges any of their children. So
I do have
I like
one
that you
question
said
in
there.
regards to
Yeah.
Red Moon and Venus. One of my favorite tracks is "I Wish You Roses," which is where you talk about letting go of love,
Yeah.
but without bitterness. Now, what is one of your keys to moving on from heartbreak like that without being bitter? Because I listened to it and it gave me life lessons. I was like, you know what, this is
I
how I
love
should
that.
act.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I always I like to credit this song that I listened to growing up by Joatan called "I Wish You Love," and I think like when I listened to that song, I always thought I wanted to make a song like that because it does have that underlying theme, like thematically, of like releasing people with love, letting go of things with love. I think not everybody's meant to be in our lives, and I think a lot of people end up feeling like, oh, we have to be enemies now, or we have to be like, you know, now we're on underlying like opposite teams, like if you're not with me or against me or da 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 da. But I think it's nice to just be able to let people go and wish them the best. That way
I also
you
think
can-
everybody serves a purpose in our life.
yeah, absolutely.
The reason they come into our path is to teach us something, take something from it positively, like you said about religion. What about for you when it comes to working with these ginormous artists that you've been working with for a long time? I forgot you worked with Steve Lacy way before
Yeah.
he had this massive
How did
hit.
you get linked in with all the cool kids?
Yeah, like Tyler and everybody. Like, how did it happen? Because I see you. I've seen, like I said, I've been watching you for years. I've been a fan for years. I mean, you graduated from the mixtape to the main stage. It's incredible
Yeah.
to see. How did you link with all of these artists?
It was just very natural. I mean, when I first moved, I was just, you know, working with other like-minded people, and those are just my peers. And yeah, it just happened pretty naturally. I think when you're all fans of each other, you gravitate towards each other and like, oh, let's make a song, let's get in
Just
the
coming
studio,
up
whatever.
together.
Yeah.
Coming up together.
How did you and Tyler start working together?
He reached out to me on Twitter actually, and he told me he was listening to some of my music and that whenever I came to LA to let him know that we would get in the studio. So that's what I did.
Oh, that's crazy. What do you think is your favorite project? This morning I had a guy call in. He was requesting music, and he's like, I'm getting ready to take my girl to the Cali Uchis concert. He was so excited. His name is Raymond. And I promised him I would ask you, what has been your favorite album to record so far?
I think always my most recent work is my favorite. So Red Moon and Venus of what has come out, but I'm definitely really excited to drop. I'm about to drop an all Latin album, and I'm really excited for
wow.
that one. That one's probably been the funnest for me. So
Are you going to have any features on it or?
yeah, I am gonna have features. I can't talk about them right now,
Oh,
but yeah,
girl,
I am
see how
gonna
you
have
do?
features though.
I was going to drop Bad Bunny, Peso Puma. Okay, well, we'll get that later.
Okay, so completely shift gears. I was talking to my homies last night, and they were making a mockery of a lot of astrology, which I pushed back on because we have a seer on the show.
We have a seer on the
We have a
show,
on the
Seer
show
Madi, every Monday. Yeah, we talked
do
about that,
you
yes.
believe it's a red flag if a man does not believe in astrology?
No, I don't think it's a red flag. I
Oh,
think that I think everybody can have their own beliefs and.
Damn, I thought you were gonna back me up way more on this.
What are red flags for you then?
I think as long as people are open minded to other people's like views, like personally, I believe that we're run by the stars, and I believe that there's a greater purpose within the universe than just us being like here
Just
for
here,
no reason.
thrown
Yeah,
for no reason, yeah.
that's my belief. But I think as long as everybody's like respect, I think a red flag is someone who's like not respectful of someone else's, or like they try to
That's a big red flag.
shit on other people for their
Yeah.
beliefs. Because I feel like we should all be entitled to believe in whatever we believe in. And
Have you ever had your cards read?
no.
Never? Have you ever wanted to?
We used to have. There was someone who used to come to one of my cousin's house, and she used to do all that type of stuff. And like, I just don't like to play with that type of stuff.
You don't even want to know.
Yeah,
You don't, yeah, I get it.
It's worked out all right for you, I would say.
Yeah, you're fine.
it's been around. Yeah, I don't do that stuff. Like play with Ouija boards and all of that stuff. I don't do that stuff.
We did that when we were little. It was
Are you heavy
scary.
on manifestation though? I mean, because you have to visualize all this,
I
right?
definitely
Like,
believe in visualizing and manifestation, and I definitely believe in all of that.
I
Yeah,
saw
absolutely.
your message to yourself. This has been a long time, but I remember when you wrote it because it reminded me of myself. You said, you know, you were homeless, you're living in a car, you know, that kind of situation. And you told yourself, look where you are now. Do you think about that struggle very often? Because I really don't. I don't like to. It doesn't serve me. I don't think
Dana
it
lived in
serves
her
me
car,
well. I
too.
lived in my car.
Okay.
Do you think about that? And do you ever think, oh my gosh, I'm here? That was so long ago. Does it drive you still?
Yeah. I think definitely some days, it is like on days where it is hard to like keep going. Sometimes, you know, because everybody goes through,
Yes,
you know,
of
their
course, of
their
course.
ups and downs. That is definitely something that makes me like try to put some effort in or try a little bit harder. So I'm like, oh well, you know, I got a lot more than I asked for, so I'm very grateful.
have you had any moments of reflection or any almost like outer body moments where you look back and say, wow, I can't believe I'm here? Because you went from the car to a critically acclaimed album to now this is a sold out tour. Have you
Yeah.
had any moments where you're like, wow, this is me? And if so, what are those moments or when did that happen?
Honestly, I always look at like, I guess it's hard because like when you're actually in the position, it's like you always look at like what more you could be doing, and you never really
Yeah.
feel like fully fulfilled in that sense. You always feel like, oh, I should be further along, or I should be here. So it is nice sometimes to think about those things because it does make you like appreciate like, well, at least I got what I have. You know what I mean? Like
Facts.
a little bit of success that I have, I definitely like owe it all to God. So
I think this is
humbling.
only the beginning.
Oh, thank you.
I really feel that way. I'm excited about the all Spanish album coming.
Thank you.
I
Me
think that's
too.
going to be great. We don't know who the collabs are, but
We'll
I
find
bet-
out soon enough.
we'll find out soon enough. Message to your fans. I always like to ask that because the people that are watching this are the people that truly love you. What is your message to the people that have supported you from the beginning or people that just found you right now?
Yeah, my message to anybody is always just, you know, that the most important thing is just to leave your heart open to whatever message the universe has for you, whatever you need to do with your life. Don't go through the motions in life. You know, life is short, so try to actually walk in your purpose. Do what you
I
want to
love
do.
that.
Ooh.
And then finally, telepatia. Did you know when you were making that song, when you were writing it, when you were recording it, did you know what a massive, giant song and hit that was going to be?
No, definitely not.
Girl, that song
Crept up on you, right?
Oh, I never planned for it to be a single. I almost didn't put it on the album.
No.
I think you did.
Why? Why?
I just don't have an ear for commercial music. I don't listen to commercial music. Like the music that I listen to is like I told you, like I listen to more like obscure artists and
yeah.
songs, and like the stuff I like from even popular artists will be more like the B-side songs.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
I like more of the stuff that's like not really like the commercial
most-
stuff.
the
So I
most
don't really,
popular.
yeah, I don't really have an ear for the popular commercial stuff. So I never really, I suck at picking singles. I never really know like what is everybody gonna like.
It's
I don't
all
know.
good, but there's sometimes that special song that touches so many people. I don't want you to think of it as a commercial song because it was just everything you do is amazing.
Oh,
don't
thank you.
don't think of it that way. And I'm glad you put it out. I don't know, the universe told you, and I'm glad you did it because a lot
I'm
of
glad I
people.
put it out too.
I really am. And welcome to the commercial world.
Thank you. Something like that.
Something like that.